and welcome to another episode of the Rollwise Show, the place where we play games. Today, we're going to be doing a little bit of a foray into the Ironlands. I'm going to be playing some Ironsworn. We did introduce Ironsworn and some of that stuff last week. And today we're hopefully actually going to be doing a little bit of the co-op play, and you're going to kind of see this episode because it's co-op play. You're going to see an unedited how the sausage is made video, basically of us going through creating the story together, kind of doing the rewinds, the fast forwards, and all of those kind of things as it makes sense to the story. Now, I haven't played a lot of solo games, mostly choose your own adventure and all that stuff. So this will be kind of a new experience for me. Jeff, I think last time you mentioned this is for you too.
No, this is pretty new for me. Yeah, I looked into some, but I did not wind up actually playing any. So we will see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, needless to say, I would ask that if you are watching this and you have played a lot of solo RPGs, a lot of co-op games, and you see suggestions that we could have for playing this, I doubt we're going to finish the game tonight. We're going to get basically characters created, hopefully get to our inciting incident, and then kind of get a little bit of play done there, and then we'll be continuing next week. But if you have suggestions on what works for you, let us know. Obviously, we're novices in this, so I don't want to present like we're absolute professionals and watch this amazing story unfold between our two Ironsworn characters, which we hope we have a good story. I mean, our goal is to have a good time playing this game. So if that's achieved, then I think we win. So
Sure.
If there was winning to be had. Okay, so I thought it would be good to kind of rehash a little bit of the world that we created, just to kind of give people a reminder as to where we would be playing in the Ironlands, or at least maybe not necessarily where, but at least like what the world was. I guess the world was like, and so
Yeah, I think we got 60 seconds for you to hit him with the highlights.
All right. So since I didn't write the highlights out, I'm going to go through and just kind of summarize as best I can. Ready, set, go. So in this game, and just a reminder, you do fill out a sheet when you're doing this, so you can kind of establish your world's truths. So our truths are the old world could no longer sustain us. All of our people migrated because obviously we'd kind of pillaged the land so much that it was unsustainable for the people in the numbers that they existed. So they moved to these lands, which obviously was a bad choice because it's like you die there or you die here, apparently. The Ironlands, they got their name because less of the location of iron and all that stuff, but there were these inscrutable metal pillars that people found when they discovered the lands. These pillars are mysterious. They're iron gray and smooth as river stone, and also they don't tarnish, and the sharpest blades do not mark them. So they're just kind of a mystery in these lands that kind of sits as a backdrop. People had come from the old world before to these lands. However, something about them changed. They fell into savagery. They are called the Broken, and whatever befell them, they are no longer resemble the ancestors of the old world we would know. Our communities are called circles. The circles themselves are small to middle sized. People have gotten together to fight off the dark, the cold, and other raiders. As it said somewhere else in the book, you don't expect like full military, army on army action here. It's mostly like those guys up the road stole our sheep, get them, those kind of things. That's kind of where we're at here. The leaders of our people tend to be clan chiefs that rule over our petty domains. So in our small towns, rather than having an overseer, we have clan chiefs that kind of get the families together or what have you, depending on that. Uh, the Because we have clan chiefs, we decided that our war bands are rallied to strike at our enemies and holdings. I imagine that to be in size from small groups of people doing raids to larger groups actually raising other towns and basically taking the resources. The Ironlands are harsh after all, but these larger war bands don't get to the size of armies by any means. They are just but they're impressive enough to, affect their will on others. Let's say.
Sure.
Now, mysticism is something that is magic is rare and dangerous. We've decided that it exists, but very few people use it. Charlatans can claim they use it, but obviously, those that truly wield the power are those to be feared. Um, Religion, people have brought their gods with them and they worship new gods in these lands. And so there is kind of a blending of religion that goes on. You can almost think of it as like animistic in so much as that gods exist everywhere, not necessarily in like an avatar form. They don't like descend and be like, "Oh, my people, follow me to the promised land." But they do give comfort to people that have prayer, that believe in that kind of stuff and pray, as well as shrines dot the landscape as people look for anything to help find succor in these lands. So uh, the firstborn, the firstborn of the elves, the giants, and all of them, they live in isolation and are fiercely protective of their lands. Basically, big "do not enter" signs. Those that do rarely make it out unscathed. More often than not, going into their lands is and that trespass is served with death, I assume, and vice versa. Elves that come out of those lands are seen as rare and who knows? Maybe they could live with us, outcasts and whatnot. But eh. The beasts, there are monstrous beasts that stalk the wild areas, meaning that there are stuff that is still dangerous um, to humans and not just really big cows, as well as there are horrors. Be careful of the dark waterways and deep forests because there are things that go bump in the night. Not common, but more than just there. There is truth to the tales that they tell the children to make them behave. Let's say. I think I went over my 60 seconds because there's a lot of truths to
No, you
go
covered it
through.
pretty well. You covered it pretty well, and I
Oh,
don't think it stretched too far. So, but good job.
yeah, yeah, woo. Um, Okay, so those are our truths. That's kind of the world we are living in, and because this is a co-op game, this is going to be a collaboratively created story as well as environment and all that stuff. And since this has got um, since this kind of has like a one-shot process that it uses in order to kind of get you into the game and all of those things as part of their gameplay in depth, they do have an abbreviated number of steps to do that. Now, we don't really need to flesh out too many of the details at this juncture. Um, but did you want to add any additional comments, notes, or anything like that in
To
the
the
form of,
world? No, I didn't.
or like the
Did you?
village? Like, I wasn't really feeling that there was any necessary items that I wanted to add, other than ooh, well, did we have a specific part of the Ironlands that you wanted to be in?
We talked about that, and then we didn't actually.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of felt like we were probably more isolated than some of the places.
Okay. Like
I don't
isolated
know.
as in the deep wilds, the veiled mountains, or
No, that just makes you monster food. It feels like.
because there is the
No, the deep
hinterlands.
wild might be. Yeah, I don't know. I actually think that I kind of wanted to be on the coast, just
Okay.
not like one of the bigger places on the coast.
Like the ragged coast.
Yeah.
Okay. That's perfect for me.
Okay. Let's be on the ragged coast in a small village.
Okay. I'm just going to take notes so that we keep our truths
Sure.
thing. Do you have a suggestion for a name of the village or a style of the name? Like, do you want it to be kind of Nordic? Do you want to just use their settlement oracle?
No, if there's we can use the settlement oracle. I don't care.
Okay, so there is a quick settlement name generator. Roll 2d100.
One sec.
Or you can roll you can roll some, and I can roll some. It doesn't really matter to me.
2d100.
Mm-hmm.
95 and an 87.
You're rolling a discard?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go there just so.
Since I don't have a... Well, I mean, I could have gotten 10-sided die out, but...
What? Real dice?
Ugh.
Wow. Oh, my God. Yeah, so the name of the town... it could go one of two ways. Now, with this, we can kind of mix and match and see where you feel like you want it to be. But a 95 and an 87 straight up would be Thornbarrow.
Or Barrowthorn.
Or you wanted to, you could take Barrowthorn, or you could take and do the 87 and then the 95. That would be Swordhome.
Thornbarrow sounds more bumpkin-y.
Okay, Thornbarrow it is. Thornhome would be also hilarious in some way, but this place is so inhospitable that it's just Thornhome. That's all that lives here. Okay, so we're from the small village of Thornbarrow. All right. Okay, now the details of Thornbarrow will come obviously as we start to figure out our characters and everything like that. So that's I just wanted to kind of get an idea as to where we were at least thinking of playing and get an idea that way. So now we're going to create characters. Now the character creation process in this is actually fairly easy. I would say. You're going to start with, kind of your name. And so you don't have to start with a name, I guess is the thought process that I have, but you can start with a name. And I'm going to call myself Aelfrid.
You're just going straight English, huh?
Yep. Aelfrid. I haven't decided what Aelfrid is, but Aelfrid is the name that I'm going to go with. And I really like the AE process. Aelfrid. And if you want to have a name generated for you by an oracle, you can as well.
I don't know if I trust the name oracles. I think I hate a lot of names.
What I always find is when I do if I'm making characters for WoW and stuff like that, and I go to fantasy name generator dot whatever, I'll always get 50 names, and I'll just be like, none of these are just hitting. It's out of all these names, you'd think at least one would kind of oh, I could work with that a little bit and fuck with some letters, but no, I don't know. And you don't have to think of a name now. We can come back to that too.
Yeah, I'm working on a couple of things, so let's come back to my name.
Okay, so now there are stats. Now, for those that haven't played Ironsworn before, there are 5 stats. There's your edge, which is a reflection of your quickness, agility, and prowess in ranged combat. There's your heart, which is your courage, willpower, empathy, sociability, and loyalty. There's your iron, which represents your physical strength, endurance, aggressiveness, and prowess in close combat. And then your shadow, which is your sneakiness, deceptiveness, and cunning. And then your wits, basically your ability to, your expertise, your knowledge, and observation. Those would be kind of what they're doing. Now, for this game, it is a stat array. You get a 3, 2 2s, and 2 1s. Which
I kind of did this last week.
Okay.
So I was going to go with a 3 in iron.
Okay.
The 2s in edge and heart, and the 1s in shadow and wits.
Okay. That's a good array there.
It's certainly an array.
I'm gonna go with
No matter which
three.
no matter what I pick in an array, the adventure usually evolves to me having to use the things that I'm worst at.
It does feel that way. So why don't we do this? You choose a character that likes to get up close and personal. I'll choose a character
Yes.
that likes to is kind of cowardly. I'm going to choose 3 for an edge, 1 in heart and iron, and 2 in shadow and wits. So a little quick on
Okay.
the thought, and maybe the guy who slinks in the background definitely doesn't feel the need to put his neck out there.
That's fair. You know what? I might. I think I'm going to put a 2 in wits and a 1 in edge.
Okay,
2 in wits, 1 in edge. Okay.
sounds good.
So I switched it up, but the array still stands.
Perfect. All right. So with our stats done, now we get to have health. Your health represents your current physical condition and stamina. So another abstraction just to be like how healthy you are. And it's ranked from 0 to +5. Now, health is reduced when you endure harm and increased when you rest or receive care through heal and or sojourn. If you are at 0 health, scoring a miss when you endure harm puts you at risk of suffering a debility or dying. Now, this is what I find is interesting is that everyone starts off healthy at +5 health.
Yeah.
So there's not this like, oh, you're a mage and you've been cloistered in a tower. Therefore see a bumblebee and find out you're absolutely allergic and immediately die because you have 1 hit point, that kind of thing, which is nice.
Yeah.
Spirit. Spirit is your current mental state, ranked from 0 to +5. It is reduced when you endure stress. It is increased when you find comfort in companionship, success, or relaxed moments through moves such as make a camp or forge a bond. If you hit 0 spirits and you miss the endure stress, you either get a debility or you fall into desolation. Now that is one thing that you can kind of write your character off into the sunset if you have a poor enough story. You just go into desolation or you can die. And of course, this starts at 5 as well. Now, the next one I thought was really interesting was your supply abstraction. I'm not going to read the entire thing and everything like that, but basically there is the supply number that you get is between 0 and 5. And instead of keeping track of inventory for like how much food you have, if you have bedrolls and all that kind of stuff, you just have a supply number. Your supply is used up when you undertake a journey move, and you might reduce supply as narrative cost when you face hardships or something like that. But ultimately, it is if you get to 0 supply, you suffer additional minus supply. You actually reduce health, spirit, or momentum by that amount. So you basically you start running out of food, water, all the stuff that helps you
Sure.
keep functioning. And I'm not going to lie. I personally think this is one of my favorite abstractions for how you manage your inventory.
It seems pretty clean from the outside, not having played with it yet.
Just thinking about it and kind of doing that whole like thought experiment about it, it feels like a really interesting way to manage those things that I hate micromanaging. Now, obviously, if you like micromanaging that shit, this is
Yeah, no, this probably isn't the game for you if you're super into keeping tracks of mouthfuls of food that you have left.
But I could see this being
swallows of water.
I have 12 swallows of water, sir. Alms for the poor. But I feel like this is one of those things that it would be easy to implement in nearly any other game that uses moves and stuff like that. As part of it. Now, I think it might be a little harder to implement in like a D&D game. You'd probably have to do a little bit of heavy lifting to kind of like.
I think you still could, but I don't know.
Yeah, you'd have to represent like because basically you'd have to take the moves and have those be applicable to whatever it is. But the point is you could use this in a way that
you could use parts of it, maybe not everything, but parts of it.
Yeah, and you can move it over to another game if you so felt.
Sure.
Momentum. Now, momentum is how you are faring in your quests. We talked a little bit about momentum last time, and it's basically and it's not so much as that it gives you more dice roll or anything like that, but it's a number that represents how successful you are and kind of having that, like your you're getting over there and you're pushing forward successfully and all that stuff. Now, if you have a negative momentum, which is possible, you are suffering setbacks and your quest is in jeopardy. Now, your momentum can get up to 10 or -6. So you can be on the range there, and you can
Sure.
burn momentum to actually achieve success in critical moments. Now, it starts at +2 for us in the beginning of the game.
Got it.
All right. Do I have momentum? Momentum. There it
Momentum
is.
2, max 10, reset 2. Haha.
Yeah, and you can your momentum numbers can be adjusted by abilities, so it can be less over time if you earn an ability
Sure.
and all that stuff. We are not going to worry about a vow right now because we're not going to do any background vows as part of the one shot process here. That's something they're going to come later. So at this point, we would consider some basic aspects of your looks and personality. Any any thoughts on like kind of the concept that has come together as to how you look? What is your place in the village? Are you kind of an asshole? I mean, everybody in the Ironlands might be an asshole. It
I
might
think
just
I
be
think
normal.
everybody in the Ironlands is. So I think if you're not, you stand out. No, I was thinking of like being the child of like some semi-skilled laborer, not just like farm. Not saying farmers aren't skilled, but
But more
like
like the
virtually
blacksmiths.
anyone can start farm. Yeah, blacksmith, shipwright, something like that.
Okay. Maybe not a
I hadn't decided on something. So somebody whose family's probably looked up to a little bit in the town,
okay
but
because you
not
provide a
like,
skill.
yeah, because they provide a skill that's shared by everyone to
Mhm.
some degree, but not like town council. I don't know. I suppose they could be anybody could be on the town council, but
Okay.
however the council circle crap works,
The elders.
the elders.
I,
Yeah, no,
I've always liked that. It's just like, well, this is the chieftain. These are the elders, people that are wise in their ways and provide advice and are respected by the community, right?
yeah.
So blacksmith, shipwright, those seem like really good things, especially since we're in the we're on the coast and everything.
Let's you know what? Let's go with the shipwright, son of a shipwright.
Okay, person that makes the boats, and the family's been crafting them for a generation.
Yeah, a whole generation since we got here.
Pretty much, you took your ability from the old world and brought it straight over, and look at
Yeah.
that. It's useful. Um, I think I'm gonna go with kind of a scrappy fisherman. He was definitely a vagabond. Came to the town.
Okay.
Um, was at least good at fishing enough so that he could pull his weight, drawing in fish, and it's like he doesn't want anybody to think that he's dead weight or anything like that. So that's what his high edge is good for. It's being out there catching fish, pulling in nets poorly because obviously he's got a low strength, but he's good at casting line too. So
Nice.
all right. Um, so Scrappy doesn't want help from doesn't want people to think that he's weak, even though he obviously is very weak in strength, and it works that way. How would you think these two characters would be connected? What would be your initial thought?
The water. Like both of our parents work around the. You know what I mean? Like shipwrights don't just build huge ships. Sometimes they build small ships, like for fishermen. As
Okay,
opposed to like I don't know if we have raiding parties or anything like that.
good. I mean, you could have raiding parties.
We could.
Yeah. Um, so as I said, I was kind of a vagabond that came into town. Maybe your family was kind to the weird kid that wanted to prove himself as a fisherman and made the connection on probation. Maybe I'm still on probation. Maybe I've passed my probation. Who knows?
I'm sure you've passed.
We'll see. Okay. So friendly enough. People of similar age, different age. How old do you envision this character of yours?
Late teens. Like probably getting close to of age to having to make some decision about what to do for the rest of the life. Whether
Okay.
it's stay with my father, or family, and take over the family business, such as it was, or you know, strike out on my own to do something else, or go to another town to do the same thing.
Mhm.
Because not all the villages have all the skilled people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Imagine there's some trading around and marrying between
Yeah.
families from different towns,
Do
that
you
kind of thing.
feel like you're an only child, or do you have siblings that you're competing for firstborn spot with?
And we can say that I have siblings. Let's you know what? Let's roll a d6. That seems like a decent amount, right?
It does. It's a lot of mouths to feed.
Well, it could only be one. I mean, I still could. It's two. Okay.
So you have two siblings, meaning that there's three of you total, right?
Yeah, let's say there's three. Yeah, because I didn't want to just wind up being an only child off the roll. So that wasn't the
You
point.
you were trying to see
I could have
determine
just
how many
said, "Oh
siblings.
no, I'm a total edgelord. I'm an only child, misunderstood by everyone, taken for
Uh,
granted.
I'm an
Such
edge
is the
lord.
fate of spoiled only children." Right?
That could be. Perfect. So then we have our two younger people in this harsh world.
What
In the
were you envisioning in terms of your age?
I was going to say like so. So obviously, as he came in as a vagabond, there's probably something in his past as to why he is alone, right? But coming to the village, he seemed to want to start fresh. He pleaded with them to kind of give him a chance because he didn't really have any money or the ability to barter much because he really just had the the shirt and on his back effectively. But a fire in his eyes and a generosity of your father allowed him to kind of work his way into at least some grace. So I was thinking about 20ish or so. Scars, like
All right.
he's a scarred individual, a little bit both psychologically and physically, meaning that there's probably some past in the Ironlands that he was trying to leave behind.
All right. Let's put me at 18. I'll be the middle child
Okay,
with siblings at 20 and 16. How's that?
sounds pretty good.
Although in most of these worlds it's probably 19 and 17, but we'll just go with 20 and 16. How's that?
Oh, interesting. This character sheet doesn't have an age on it. I can put the age in there somewhere.
Yeah, you can probably put it by your name, right? So do you have one
Oh,
of those weird last names because you're familyless?
or as in like no last name because I just go by Alfred now. It's no point knowing my family. He said,
Do they not?
"I
Do they not? Do you don't think the village gives you like some weird Norse version of lonely one or something?
oh, I mean that's a good question. What do like? Is there a
Well, I mean, naming used to be there's a lot of a lot of countries where it's Peterson is the son of Peter, right? Kind of thing. Or people were named after their jobs.
hmm. Yeah.
Except
Well,
it's your character, so if everybody
yeah.
just calls you Alfred,
I think we're just going to go with Alfred for now. Maybe there is a last name digging around in there. I haven't thought of it right yet, but maybe last name is whatever the equivalent of like Alfred Alfred the fisherman would be in terms of how like John Smith. There used to be blacksmiths. I don't know what a last name for a fishmonger would be. Let's see what they say. Options for last names based on being a fishmonger. Oh, so basically, what some people might suggest is that using the name of fish, like uh, a whitehead or steelhead, like a bass or something like that.
Yeah,
Bass,
because like even Game of Thrones had
the sands and snows, and
yeah for all the bastard children.
oh, it could just be as simple as Waters. Alfred
It could,
Waters.
it could just be waters or fish guts or
I mean, Alfred
what's an
Fish Gut
inedible fish
Waters.
that nobody wants?
I think it's something called a Scottish lord. Um, fish. There's I do remember there is like when I was up in Alaska. Uh, oh, I think it might be an Irish lord. That might be it. But like they're just these really funky looking fish. But like I caught apparently what that would be. I don't know if this is true or not. Somebody told me I caught this because my real life ability to fish is actually a negative number, if that's so possible.
Wow, you're a bad
Um,
fisherman.
Pretty much, because when I was up in Alaska, I was up there to visit my wife. She was not my wife at the time, but I went to a place that was like a spawning ground with silver salmon, and silver salmon spawning is like, I mean, you pretty much throw a hook into the water and then you just like
Almost
pull it out.
anything.
Yeah,
You can almost reach in with your hand, Mike.
yeah, I could have gently ushered them to shore and caught fish. I first of all caught this Irish lord, as it was described to me, a barrel feeder, like just a bottom feeder that was just ugly as sin. I must have killed it on accident catching it, because when I threw it back into the water, it just sank there and belly up. And then the other fish that I caught, there are thousands of these salmon, just majestically fighting with these other fishermen on the shore and stuff. People are pulling their rods out, and salmon have a good amount of fight in them. And I caught a pink salmon. So there was one lonely pink salmon that got lost, and it's called the dogfish, according to my wife, because it's for the dogs. And this salmon, like, and I was like, I think I caught something. They're like, what do you mean you think you caught something? Did you catch a boot? Because my fishing rod, like, I was reeling it in, but there was no fight. Like, the line was just coming back, and it literally walked this salmon up to the shore, and the salmon was like, "Hey, buddy, what are you doing? I think you got me in the lip." And I was like, I'm sad, but also happy that I caught something. Didn't catch
There
a
you
silver.
go.
Not the entire
All right.
time I was there. So moving on.
So you're an awful fisher person.
In real life, but in this game, successful. I can catch
Oh.
fish. I can spear fish them, maybe even.
Spearing is tough work.
It is. Got a high edge.
The water reflects stuff. You have to know where it's actually going to go, because it doesn't go where it looks like it's going to go based on the reflection.
Nope. I'm not a good spear fisherman myself either, personally. So I know.
We'll just say that I have made attempts, and they were all poor in real life. Just saying.
That is. All right. So okay, so I'll just put Waters at the end there. Alfred Waters, and we'll just have that be the place filler for right now until I can think of something different, if I care enough. All right. So the next part we're going to be moving on to we're going to introduce an inciting incident. So now there are two ways to do this. You can kind of just think about what that inciting incident would be, or I think there might be an oracle if you wanted to use an oracle for your inciting incident as well. But I was curious if you had something that was, this is a problem. And so an inciting incident is something that's a problem that arrives at the beginning of the story, propelling our protagonist into action. So everything up to this point has been backstory, all the laughs, the crying, the fish we caught, all that is backstory.
Right.
And so a good inciting incident is personal. It's a problem that won't go away on its own. It has a ticking clock, meaning that we have to focus on it now, as opposed to I'm playing Suikoden right now, which when you have a break between incidents, they're just like, you need to come to the castle right now, and you can just literally wander around the entire world. there's no, there's nothing that ushes you forward. And then, of course, making it universal, some inciting incident that would be applicable to all of us, so that we don't have that. Well, my character's not motivated to help you with your inciting incident, and then we both go off and do a solo game, I guess. so,
Right.
um, so where do you guys, or where do you fit? I'd say you guys is like you is more than one person. It's funny.
Yeah, all of the stuff that I was thinking of, I didn't
Mhm,
think was as good as some of the starter examples from the world building, because I kept focusing on like like stuff like, oh, we got raided by somebody and they killed or kidnapped portions of the town, which is fine for, I don't know, the 700 fantasy movies that have randomly used that same trope, you know,
mhm,
to varying degrees of
mhm,
wiped out and left one survivor, or,
mhm,
the raiding happens between the villages when when something happened, like when your crops fail, you've got to
mhm.
go steal them from your neighbors or you die, it's you or them. I I didn't come up with anything that I thought was great. How did you do?
Um, I struggled a little bit in this area because not knowing what our characters would be, it would um, kind of became a little bit difficult to say like, okay, well, where would I fit? So I was thinking that there was kind of some plot lines that seemed to make sense to me. Was and one of the things that I used, and just for anybody else, you can get on Drive Through RPG a book called The Big List of RPG Plots. And so I picked that up a while ago, and I was looking at it. One of the things I thought would be a good one is manhunt. Basically there's someone gone for reasons like they've either run away, gotten lost, you know, they didn't phone home. Not that they have a phone lands or anything like that. Um, that it could be some form of blackmail that's done upon the village to get them to capitulate for people, like you said, raiders to try to take their lands. Um, could be that there's a monster in the wilderness that's taking people, and we're um, investigating the disappearance of villagers. Probably not at sea, but probably near the sea would be my thought process there. Um, there is what else was there? The quest for the sparkly who's its. Somebody needs a dingus to fulfill a prophecy, heal a monarch, prevent a war, cure a disease, what have you.
Sounds like a MacGuffin, Mike.
So basically, there's a problem that only we can solve by going someplace and getting
to, get,
something.
to get some unnamed object.
The quest for the Holy Grail is always a good
Yeah,
one.
there we go.
Um, let's see, recent ruins. If you wanted a dungeon crawl, um, running the gauntlet. We've got to go from point A to point B, and basically nothing but bad things happen on the way there. um, could be that the fish are dying or something like that. We could have could have a fish problem, which would be existential to the village. Um,
That would be. If you live on the
mhm,
coast, I gotta imagine a lot of your effort goes into catching fish.
mhm.
I mean, you're probably still hunting some, but
Because
that's not where the big animals live. Is right on the right on the coast.
exactly, and it could be that there's it could be something like that is causing an existential problem, um, to our livelihood. Those are kind of some of the ideas that I was kicking around in there. Um, there is one called Stalag 23, which we find ourselves imprisoned and must engineer an escape.
Yeah, they're taking a lot of movie plots.
Well, that's because that's what that's what they are.
That's
I mean,
I mean, well, I mean, they're plots of movies, books, what have you. Actually don't mind the fish dying. I just don't know how we do that. I don't know how we figure that out.
okay.
You know
Well,
what I mean? Like,
um, all right. So basically, what the inciting incident is. Okay, how would that work? So make it personal. So the fish dying in the village means that, or a large. Would it be fish dying or fish vanishing?
maybe fish vanishing. Maybe our fishermen are going out to their fishing grounds, and their nets are coming up virtually empty. Maybe not 100% empty, but just not catching fish in the quantities that we used to get. Which means they got to go out further or longer, and then it takes longer to get back. Kind of stuff.
Okay, and more dangerous and all of those kind of things.
Yeah, and we're a
Um,
small village. It's not like there's hundreds of boats, that are overfishing the area. But
okay. So then that would lead to the next question: is that if they're disappearing or something like that, I think if I was to say like storyline wise, it makes sense to have some large predator or something like that in the area that could be the reason why the fish have either moved on or they're just being
I
eaten.
think you should. I think we should row out there in a boat. And since you're the better swimmer, you should dive down and explore the waters to see if you can see anything.
Well, actually, so I was thinking about the beasts, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe what we have is that we have something that's kind of kind of the thing is that there is the leviathan monster, an epic creature,
Oh, there
um
we go. Something that's
in
like a
the
cross between a giant squid and a shark.
basically. And so the quest starter seems to be a leviathan lurks off the coast preying on fishing boats and trade ships. Among the dead are someone important to you. Who is it? Like we could use that as kind of like it's basically killing the fish and the fisherman, so that we know what it is rather than just being like the gods have turned against us, be more pious.
Right. No, we can do that. We can do that. I personally, for me, I think that I'm more upset. I mean, I'm upset, right? That
Hmm.
the people are getting attacked, but the crown jewel of the fishing fleet, which my father designed,
Hmm.
was one of the boats that failed, and
Okay.
it's like a stain on my family name.
All
On
right.
top of all the other stuff, do you know what I mean? Like
Sure. Okay.
that's my more personal engagement with it. Like there's a general engagement because the village is going to have a hard time feeding itself if there's a fierce creature out there.
Sure. And truthfully, what I feel like um what I think that this probably did, I think this quest for the Leviathan seems to probably
Okay,
be a good quest for us then.
let's do that. Yeah, let's do that.
So this is the full quest starter. So the Leviathan lurks off the coast, preying on fishy boats and trading ships. Among the dead is someone important to you. So I think that would be good to kind of memorialize who that person of importance is to us that kind of like has our personal stake into it. You have vowed to send the beast back to the depths. So you having that fire and that passion, I feel like to kind of go take it down. My character sees that and not wanting to back down in this scenario will probably follow in your footsteps to give you aid, because you are going to require a mythic weapon, the abyssal harpoon, an old world artifact said to be carved from the bones of a long dead sea god. And so we'll have to come up with where the weapon is rumored to
Okay.
be held and all of those kind of things. Um, I think that honestly, that's kind of a fun quest to
No,
get.
no, no. Let's do that. I'm gonna say that one of the first boats to go out had one
Mhm.
of the best warriors in town who had been training me. Like he was kind of like my mentor.
Okay.
When I wasn't working on the ships with my father, I was training to be a warrior. As
Hmm.
all young men in the village, you have to be ready to do stuff. Let's say he died.
Okay. All right.
Killed my mentor. And we'll just call him Wolfgar. That sounds like a very nice. Sounds like a very tough Norse name.
Ooh. Okay. Um, so as you know, people before people really understood what was happening to these boats and everything like that. Apparently, um, I had someone named Solana that was. I'm using the Oracle for the Ironlander names.
Nice.
Solana was close to me, maybe romantically, maybe something like that. So I have a personal vendetta against this thing, not knowing obviously the legends and the lore of the land. For me, it was more like pissing in the winds to find some way
Sure.
to go against the Leviathan. But you having, your father being an elder and having, you know, tribal knowledge passed down about these ancient weapons gives me hope that I can get revenge for Solana.
Possibly.
This is going to be an epic vow right out of the gate, I guess.
It
Well,
feels epic. I'm not
well,
gonna lie.
it says according to the rule book, like the foe is okay. Components of an NPC. Because gameplay is centered around the abilities and actions of your characters that be represented in your fiction rather than mechanics, they don't have stats, assets, or tracks. Instead, a simple NPC in this chapter would include some broad details to help you guide motivations. Um, okay, so the rank of this NPC is considered epic. It is a legendary foe of mythic power. Its progress is 1 tick per harm. So we'll talk about progress checks and everything like that. And when it does harm, it inflicts 5 harm, meaning that we better be better be ready to fucking woo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so as part of that move, so because when you fail to defend against a foe's attack and face physical harm, you make an endure harm move, and as part of that move, you reduce your health track by the amount of harm your foe inflicts per their rank.
So we'll literally die if we attack this and don't kill it right away.
Or, I mean, if we went in there head on right now, we would probably suffer a very pathetic defeat. Like it would
Probably.
be, we wouldn't be so in this game the objective is to kind of build progress tracks and then end the fight and all those kind of things. So that'll be something that's actually pretty fun. Now the one thing I did forget, and I'm sorry about this, is I did forget we also get assets. I forgot that we actually get to have those.
No, I knew there was assets. They were sort of nebulous.
So there is assets, and what's interesting is that I didn't see the assets actually listed in the book, and this is probably one of the things that I felt was a kind of a weird choice, considering that I don't think as a PDF I don't think it was too bad, but maybe as a physical copy or something like that. Um, maybe that was a little bit more. So there is an Ironsworn asset master set that you would normally print out for yourself that includes front and back pages. I thought I'd shared it with you, but apparently I did not. So this will tell you what assets you can have, and you typically have 3 assets that you get at the start of play. Maybe 3 assets. Assets. You may select 3 assets when you create your character. Additional assets can be acquired with experience points when you advance. Some assets can only be obtained after you have fulfilled a narrative or mechanical requirement, etc., etc. So there are types of assets, and so just so people are aware, there are the type of assets called a companion, which is pretty much an NPC helper. There is a path, which represents your background, interests, training, and skills. There are combat talents, which allow you to be specialized in certain items, such as swords, shields, spears, hammers, and all that kind of stuff. And then there are rituals, which are magic in nature and tend to be kind of weird abilities and stuff like that. So I don't.
Hey, none of these companions can swim. They're all gonna die.
You can also make a companion, and hawks
I
can
know.
fly. I mean, that could be.
They can fly. I know.
Yeah.
I was just hoping for something like the young wyvern, except like for the sea, they could help us with the leviathan.
You could make a dolphin, and your first tip would be it's a dick, because dolphins are assholes, or orca. Orcas are also assholes. Um,
I was just looking through the assets. Had you picked any assets?
I had looked at them. Um, I was actually thinking that that either I could take infiltrator, loyalist. I could also take Oathbreaker. That would make sense to me. Or Outcast. Hmm. Or I could take Pretender. There's a lot of paths in here that seem like
There's a lot of paths, yeah.
and I don't necessarily know that they are important right now. Oh, there is a path called a right. Like when you secure an advantage.
There's a path called Slayer.
There is a path called Slayer. Cutthroat, Brawler, Duelist, Fletcher, Ironclad. Oh, now we're in combat talents. My bad. And then combat talents kind of interesting because, like Berserker, if you are clad only in animal pelts, when you secure an advantage or compelled by embodying your wild nature, add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. Woohoo!
Nice.
Is there there's a Slinger, Swordmaster, Thunderbringer. Ooh. Oh, now we're to the Skirmisher. Fletcher. There we go.
There's also Waterborne, which doesn't really help us below the water. That's more ship based.
Yeah. I don't feel like going against the Leviathan is going to be necessarily something we're going to like put on a diving bell and try to catch it underwater. I mean,
I'm telling you, man, it's my first idea. We're gonna tie a rock to your waist so you can stay down there longer.
But it's so cold.
You'll warm up when you get back up.
So I think probably maybe pick those assets between now and our next session.
No, I agree.
And then I think I'm just trying to see what other things we need to do to get our one shot going. Okay, so set the scene. Where is our adventure going to start? And so, like, would you want the starting scene to be like the marauding beast is seen on the horizon destroying the ship that carries these fisher people? Like what do you envision?
Either that or the circle meeting after, like they already sent out like the top guys.
Okay.
And pieces of the boat came back and they've found body parts floating up onto the beach.
Oh, that's
so
dark.
Like everybody's considered lost. And so the A team failed.
Nice.
And now they're looking for somebody to be the B team. And everybody's short arming, we need volunteers. And everybody's like, looking at each other, seeing who's going to raise their hand first so they don't have to.
Well, there is a part of me that like there's got to be people in the village that are like, tales of the leviathan say that if you leave it alone, it will move on its own. You
Oh
know,
no, there has to be.
seeking,
Sure, there's a
seeking
great debate
vengeance is
going
the wise.
on, and it
Yeah.
feels like the perfect time for somebody young and stupid,
Mm. To
full
to
full of
rise
the
to the
confidence
challenge.
that I'm going to, that feeling that you're going to live forever that you have,
Mhm.
like, well, that can't happen to me. I will
Yeah,
avenge them.
I feel like that's probably not the that's a that's not unlikely, for the to basically, have the elders being like, "We breach caution. How many more do we wish to lose to the waves?" And then you're like, "One more," and I'm like, "Two more."
My father's like trying to pull down my arm.
No, not you, not you.
Like,
They'll pay for killing Ragnar and Solana. No.
exactly, that kind of
Um,
stuff.
Okay, so we envision like this big moot has been convened in this giant in like the great
Yeah,
hall, because there's in a village of this size, there's got to be a great hall of sorts where the
there
village
has to be.
conducts businesses, like has its social
Feasts, something.
feasts
Yeah.
and well, maybe after a particularly good fish, like a fishing run or something like that. But this is probably where this big kind of mood is happening, where everybody is come together. Um,
Yes.
the chieftain, the chieftain is kind of trying to silence people and get people to actually make sense of what's happening, because everyone's scared shitless with body parts, freshly um freshly washed up on the shore. The water is colored in blood from the whatever. Good times. So what so how are you going to convince your father to to basically allow you to face this danger?
I just think as the meeting drags on, right, and that they're
Mhm.
obviously not getting what they want.
Mhm.
There's nobody stepping up. I start to wear them down. That somebody has to. If we don't do something, the village may perish. And it isn't like we can just move the village easily to another location. And who's to say the Leviathan won't show up there, you
Mhm.
know, in 6 months or a year, and Wolfgar is dead and needs to be avenged. And I was obviously his best student in my own mind, right? And,
Mhm.
and any good teacher, right? Everybody's convinced that they were their favorite.
Fair enough. Fair.
I don't know that I was, because he's dead now.
Okay.
That's all I'm
Well,
saying.
so I think this is the perfect time to do the quest move, swear an iron vow. Like
Okay.
I feel like
No,
cinematically your
it
character
does.
rising up against the people and kind of shouting them back, saying that the beast must be killed. Because basically what you do when you swear an iron vow, you grab something of iron to basically swear, because iron obviously is considered that conduit to the old gods or whatever have
Yeah,
you.
I would pull out probably my sword
Okay. All right. So
and
this is the
and stand up and start striding forward, as saying that if none of you, as I look at every man in the village, that kind of scanning the crowd,
Mhm.
none of you will step up and avenge our fellow townsfolk,
Well, I
village
will take
folk.
up charge.
Yes,
You do not stand alone, brother.
exactly.
Something. So when you swear an iron vow to complete a quest, write your vow and give it a quest rank, then roll plus heart. If you make this vow to a person or community to whom you share a bond, add +1. On a strong hit, you are emboldened and it is clear what you must do. Next, ask the Oracle of Unsure, +2 momentum. On a weak hit, you are determined, you but you begin quest with more questions than answers. Take a +1 momentum. And on a miss, you face significant obstacles before you can begin your quest. Um,
Okay, so hang on. What do I roll? Let's go a little bit slower. Sorry.
Oh, so basically, in and this is the rule summary is that when you do something in the game, you roll what's called an action roll. Now, your
Okay.
action roll is where you roll a d6 and then you add your stat and any additional adds that you may have
Okay.
from
So you said
assets.
plus heart. So I have
Yep,
2 for heart.
yep,
I have 1 because I'm swearing in front of the village.
yep. So that'd be three. So then you roll a d6 and add three, and then you're going to roll 2d10. So, and each of these 10 are going to represent your challenge dice. So if your d6 plus your stat plus your adds is greater than your challenge dice, because none of that equal to bullshit and Ironsworn, if they're greater than your challenge dice, then you get a bonus here. And I'm going to let you take the spotlight on this one because I think it makes sense. So, and
So I roll a d6 plus 3 and 2d10.
yep.
2d10. Let me see if I did that right.
Holy crap. So you got a 9 for your action dice. Oh, actually, no. You got a weak hit. So what that means, so when you're looking at your action rolls and everything like that,
Yes.
a strong hit is considered a score of when your action dice is greater than both of your challenge dice. A weak hit is when your action score is greater than the one of the challenge dice, which in this case that is, considering you rolled fucking
Okay. So
amazing.
so I rolled a 9, and the action dice were a 3 and a 10. So the
Mhm.
9's higher than a 3, but the 9's lower than a 10.
Correct.
Right?
So
Okay.
you
Okay.
you scored a weak hit, and now a miss
Weak
would
hit.
be as if your action dice was less than um, both the challenge dice, but it's not combined. It's just you did score higher than either one. So in this case, because you got a weak hit, you are determined, but begin your quest with more questions than answers. You get +1 momentum and envision what to do to find a path forward.
All right. So
Um,
I get +1 momentum. So my momentum goes up to 3. Right?
mhm,
Okay.
yeah, and
And we
I
have
don't.
more questions than answers.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure if like both of us rolling here makes sense. I'm going to swear the Iron Vow with you to take care of this Leviathan, but I don't know if me rolling adds more narrative depth to it. I think your role is the
Okay.
hoorah.
No, I think
Um,
honestly, I think that's a fair result given that, we're young and strong and enthusiastic, but a
mhm.
little weak on the experience part. And we don't have a lot of answers. We have
We
boat
don't.
parts and body parts. We have a lot of assumptions.
That's true. We have boat parts and body parts. We have a lot of
Yes,
parts. Not
there's
all of them go
parts,
together.
but we don't have a complete picture. We have
Sure.
we have educated guesses, and the town seems to believe the educated guesses, but we don't
So
have a ton of hardcore facts.
So, what questions do you think we need to kind of lay out here in order to get started? Because, like,
I
so
think
first
we
of
I think
all,
we need to ask where they were like the circle where they were going, I'm just going to call them the A team since I did that earlier.
okay,
The A team that got wiped out, right? Like where they went. I mean, because we would know the waters around the village, like like the people of the village would know the where the fishermen go and that kind of stuff. To have
okay,
some idea of what path they were taking, and working with the tide, so that it made sense.
okay. So basically, and what it might also that question might be trying to get into is like, where is the beast?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Where did the attack happen? Can we,
Mhm.
is it possible that something else happened? You know,
At this point, I feel like we have an idea that what is the beast is not a relevant question to us, especially since we have a
right.
weak hit. At least we know what it is. Maybe there
We,
was a survivor that told us, or maybe we could even just see it
yeah,
as we ripped the.
maybe the Leviathan got spotted by a fisherman, and that's what sent the first group out. Anyways,
Okay, so how do you kill it is probably a good, a
well,
good question.
That's an excellent. No, Mike, how do you kill it? You just straight willpower.
You just you feed it you give it a Pringles can, and obviously it can't get its hand in it, so it starves to death.
Right.
It's maybe my problem with Pringles, I guess. But okay, how do you question? How do you kill it? And so
Yeah.
the quest thing suggested that the foe could be killed by an ancient harpoon made of a long dead god. I like that idea. Do you want that to be the
I like
how
that
to kill it?
idea. I mean, and there's probably stories that are
Okay.
told, and
Okay.
then so who's got the magic harpoon?
Yeah. So that leads us to the next question: is who has the harpoon?
Or where is the harpoon?
Who or where is it? Does
Okay.
anybody in the village know that answer?
Bueller, anyone? Right.
And if no one in the village knows that answer, do they know anybody that might be able
Where
to
we
give
could,
us?
sure.
Does
Yeah, it feels like we're gonna have to venture out a bit,
yeah,
as
I feel
opposed to
like
just jumping in a boat and
yeah. So what I think I think at this point that's probably where we can get to today. I think for next week we should
okay.
probably get our
We
assets,
should be able to jump right in, right? Yeah.
and then jump into the idea of, does anyone in the village know? No. Do they know where they can find out? I think we don't know where it is. We don't know how to kill it. We do know that there's a harpoon, and we have a lead on possibly somebody that might know the location of the harpoon or how to acquire it.
Excellent.
Right? I think
Yes.
that
No, I think
works.
that's fair. Honestly, I think that's fair. I think that's good. I
Okay.
think it's strong.
So success. We rolled dice. We created characters, mostly 90% done, minus assets. We have a strong personal relationship to the world around us, and a cool quest to kill a leviathan that will probably fucking murder our faces.
Probably, but I mean, would you be Ironsworn if that bothered you?
No, I mean it's just funny. We could have. I guess we could have gone for a smaller. We went for an hors d'oeuvre and came back with a whole rack of lamb.
Oh, we went
Um,
hardcore. I get that.
so, all right. Well, I'm satisfied with that beginning. It gives you it gives you kind of some ideas as to what you think would be the next steps, and how we can use the system to tell the story rather than just brainstorm, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think that's going to be the hard part for me, is to know when to dip into the system, because it'll be such good ideas that could generate on their own that it's like, well, mechanically, how do we use the system to add the challenge and the difference there? But I'm curious to find out. Um, a lot of people have high praise for this game, so I have a feeling that it's going to be a good romp.
I already kind of like the dice system, so I find it kind of interesting.
Mhm. It's different,
So
It's
yes.
not like what we've done before, which is nice.
No, I like that.
So, with that, if you've made it to the end of this short video of Ironsworn, please let us know your comments. Did you like how that played out? Were you having fun? We were having fun. It seems, Let us know your experiences. Share your own Ironsworn stories, and of course, I did just get my what is that called? Draw
Draw steel.
Draw Steel. That's right. I did just get Draw Steel. So there may be a Draw Steel book coming up in the near future. We will find out if, I was going to say, this fourth edition successor, but maybe Matt Colville will find me.
You'll get banned from chat.
Probably. I'm not doing this to seek people's approval. I'm here to have fun playing games.
Exactly. And we think we did play some Draw Steel in the alpha form, beta form.
Did we?
One of the
Oh,
two.
we played
We
Daggerheart.
did Daggerheart. We did Daggerheart. We did DC-20, and we did a little bit of Draw Steel, I thought. Or did I just watch more content on Draw Steel? I thought we played some. Maybe I just watched some.
We watched it because a lot of the stuff was, you couldn't get the playtest stuff unless you were actually a Patreon for them.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I wasn't. I wasn't in the Patreon.
So until it got its public playtest materials released a few months
Okay.
ago, I hadn't really seen it. I was part of the playtest pool, so if I had a playtest that aligned with an opening, I could have done it.
Sure.
But I
Yeah,
it just
I
slipped through the
misremembered
times.
that, Mike. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all good. I think it'll be fun. It's fresh. It'll be interesting to see if we have what our take is compared to what the community's takes is, because I the weird part about there are some things, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist here, but I do feel like some people like have weird RPG agendas for these bigger released games.
I don't
Like
know.
they go on Reddit and they either try to subvert or overhype. Like they're like, I want other people to like this, so I'm gonna go be the extra promoter, or I really don't want
That
people to
could be.
like this, so I'm gonna just make shit up and and just shit on this game. It's such a weird, like, I've seen it for both Daggerheart and DC20 right now, that there have just been these weird posts that have just baited engagement, and the comments are just wild. Um, but not
Yeah,
as
until you see
wild.
a finished product, and you actually have a finished product now, so you can give us some
Mhm.
stuff, and I'll see if I can find some newer videos to watch. Because
Yeah.
like my stuff's pretty dated, right? Like the information that I had was pretty dated, so
Well,
I need to see some more.
they did do a redo of the Delian tomb that was kind of Matt's like
Oh,
intro
nice.
adventure
Yeah,
and stuff. So I think that
that'd be cool.
the group, God, what was that guy's name? The guy who was the game producer, the one that needed way more sleep at the very beginning of this.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Acasto, in, yeah,
Intracast.
Intracasto.
Yeah.
Something very similar to that.
Yeah,
He was running it, I
I'm
believe.
not trying to slot. I'm not forgetting his name
I I'm
on
forgetting his
purpose,
name.
but James
Ja-
Intracast, so something like that.
I I think it's James Introcasto. James Introcasso.
Intercasso.
Introcasso. Yeah, that's him. James Introcasso. Sorry, James. We apologize.
No,
Um,
I
so we apologize, but I was just suggesting that the Delian tome that he ran was
okay.
something that they
I'll
kind
see
of
if I
did
can
to
find
kind
it.
of give you a shot of it. Because
No, that
honestly,
would be cool. Yeah.
I'm just curious to see how it stacks up against DC20. Because for what the DC20 stuff was offering at the time when we played it back in the earlier beta, I enjoyed the shit out of it. So
I had a lot
um,
of fun with DC20, but it also feels like as moving through their beta phases, a lot of stuff has changed. Hopefully for the better. I'm sure for the better. You
yep.
know, because we didn't really get to play with Magic and some of the other stuff.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, or at least a
I'm interested in
version.
checking out both games. Like we checked in on Daggerheart, when it came out.
Mhm. I actually like
So I
Daggerheart.
want to check. I want to check. I do too.
Yeah, I
I
think
think I'm going
these.
to like all three for different reasons because they're all
Yeah,
different games.
yeah. It's interesting. I feel like Daggerheart right now, and we obviously have to see what DC20 puts out at the final product, because obviously Dungeon Coach is putting his heart
Right.
and soul into this, which is awesome to see him, working so hard to make this a reality.
Yeah.
But there's, it's a, how do I say it? It's like, but Daggerheart was a. I think Daggerheart had a lot of good to the game. Obviously, it's not my perfect game. I don't know what is my perfect game, but there was a lot of.
Sure.
It's a little loose on some of the rules in Daggerheart. I'm not going to talk about
Yes.
handfuls of
For as
gold, but
no, but for as many rules as there is in the book, there
mhm.
are places where it is a
it's
little undefined.
and it's surprisingly rules. It's rules light to medium, where I thought it would be more rules medium, I guess. So
Okay.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I think it's a fun system, and I could see playing
Yeah.
that some more.
These are
But
potentially some future topics.
yeah,
If you really want to see us talk about this, one of these on stream, let us know in the comments.
yeah, we might be talking about Fabula Ultima too. Who knows?
I do. We'll be talking more about Fabula Ultima.
In case
Even if it's just pictures of Mike admiring his Yoshitaka mono art version.
what I did or didn't do. Now there is, in case anybody is wondering, Need Games needs you to back their game. They are putting out their Fabula Ultima RPG. It is on Kickstarter right now. It has 21 more days to go. It's already past $1 million. Um, or 900,000 euros, depending on where you live. I mean, it looks like it's successfully funded, but I'm excited to see the artwork, see the product in
Mhm.
person. They have some physical goals that, man, that is like super cool to see some of the stuff there. Like, they have like an art book that they're putting out. They have like they actually have a game master screen that has the amount of artwork on it. There's like so many cool little things. I just I just don't know if I have the ability to like, because there's also an artwork print, but I don't know where I'd put it. I
That's
don't know.
fair.
Yo-
No, that's fair.
Yoshitaka Amano is like my
These are the
favorite
questions.
artist.
Yeah, these are the questions that we all face when we're looking at some of these Kickstarters that, shall we say, get a little large to get the full spectrum of product. I still remember the Brandon Sanderson stuff,
Cosmere.
the
Yeah,
Cosmere
you could spend a
RPG.
pretty penny.
You could lose. You. It was like a car payment
Hmm.
or a small house payment,
Yeah.
a really small house payment to get
What?
everything in that
Well,
campaign. That
and
was a big campaign.
I think our friend pledged at a fairly high level. That picture I saw that he of his stuff that he got recently looks pretty cool, and I really kind of want to play it again. Even though I've been reading books, but I have not jumped into the Cosmere books. It's funny, like once we stopped playing it, I was like, I'm gonna go read some other stuff right now. I don't. That's not. I don't know why.
I'm still listening to Elantris on audiobook.
Oh yeah.
It's good. I have struggled to finish.
I if anybody wants us to start a book club, I'm more than happy to, because I just finished Project Hail Mary from Andy Weir. That book is fun. That's a good book.
I've
Um,
heard nothing but good things. Well, okay, I suppose if you dig deep enough, you'll hear bad things about any book. But most of what I've heard is really positive about Project Hail Mary.
Yeah, I mean, there was so I read The Martian. I skipped Artemis for some reason. I have the book in my audiobook library, but I just apparently skipped it. And that was actually read by Rosario Dawson, which I was
Oh, neat.
surprised. I was like, "Oh, cool, that's kind of interesting." Some celebrities I like having, and some other celebrities. Not saying Will Wheaton's a bad audiobook narrator, but there's a lot of Scalzi books that are narrated by Will Wheaton. He's a very prolific audiobook narrator.
It always takes me a minute to get into it, but he seems to be polarizing for some listeners.
Very much so. And I think there are some that he does super well in. Like he did what the fuck was that? It was something about kaiju. Skull. Uh oh uh Kaiju Preservation Society. That was the name
Oh,
of the
right.
book.
Yeah.
And that actually worked really well in his favor, because it kind of like the personality of the main character was like a very easy for him to slip into. But there was this other book that I read that I was like, "Ooh, that doesn't fit as well."
All
you
right.
know, I'm sure he's just a book by book person, but happy to be reading extra books. If you want to post in the comments what you're reading, let us know. I'm curious. I'm picking up a new book. What was the book I just started? Oh fuck.
I don't know.
It's like called Orbital something. It's been translated over from the Japanese. It's basically
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah, it seems
I
interesting.
I don't think I've read any actual Japanese sci-fi that was not manga.
Oh really? Yeah. Well, what I find is nice is that there seems to be a growing number of people translating books from other countries. And so
No, it's cool.
uh like the light novels and stuff like that in Japan are fairly popular and fairly frequently fan translated, but not like hard sci-fi. So this seems like it
Okay.
might fit more into the hard sci-fi. I'm not
You'll
sure
have to
yet.
tell us. You'll have to tell us
Yeah,
about it. And I'm not sure it'll be on this show, but you'll have to tell us about it, like
yeah.
in our
We'll see.
group chat or something.
So with that, I think we can go ahead and let her go there. I know it's
Let's
late
wrap it
for you.
up.
And so if y'all have your comments, you want to let us know what you're doing, hang out with us. We may do live streams again in the near future. Who knows? We haven't planned on it yet, but let us know what you're playing. Let us know what you think of the game, and we'll catch you down the road. Jeff, do you want to send us off into the bright blue
Yeah,
yonder?
you can if you can hit us up on social media. We are at Rollwise on most platforms. You can also email us rollwiseguys@gmail.com and since Brent isn't here, roll well, roll wise, and be safe out there. Thanks.
Everyone.